Money decisions don't have to be either or. With Bank of America, they can be yes and. Like yes to sunny vacations and rainy day funds. Can our digital tools and guidance help you create the future you want? Yes. And help you keep enjoying today, too. Do more with a bank that asks, what would you like the power to do? Explore our tips and more at bankofamerica.com/yes and.
This episode is brought to you by National Geographic, presenting its new documentary film, Endurance. Follow the greatest survival story ever told, unpacking the legendary feat of polar explorer Sir Ernest Shackleton, who kept his crew alive for over a year, despite losing their ship in frigid pack ice. Over a century later, a team of modern-day explorers set out to find the sunken ship. Endurance, now streaming on Hulu and Disney+.
The holiday season officially starts when you get that first card in the mail. Shutterfly makes it easy to add more meaning to the everyday with hundreds of holiday card designs that can be personalized in seconds with your favorite photos from this year. Select your greeting, customize the color, and even add little extras like personalized foil to make a holiday card that really shines. Enjoy 40% off with code SMILE40 at Shutterfly.com and send something meaningful this year. See site for more details.
On Wikipedia, there is a list of films considered to be the worst. We've talked about a few of those films on this show before, and more often than not, we've found positive aspects to praise. This time, we may have met our match. Strap in, dear listeners, as we drink a whole jug of nightmare fuel and try to prove that the Garbage Pail Kids movie is not that bad. Welcome, one and all to It's Not That Bad, the podcast that looks for A grades in B movies, and a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. So hello to all of our listeners in Fort Worth, Texas, and around the world. Dear listeners, if you're tuning into this episode, you're tuning into one that you might not be able to recover from, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to recover from this one. Because we're talking about a film that is on the list of movies considered to be the worst. The Garbage Pail Kids Movie. And I brought backup for this one because, oh dear God, I'm going to need backup for this one. First of all, my lovely wife, Carrie. Carrie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. Not to worry, friends. I'm here as the emotional support Cabbage Patch doll. Because Jay's going to need some help on this one.
I did make sure or check to see if there was a signature on her ass, and there isn't, so we're good. We're good. But also joining the show from the Sleevey G Show, Gomez is back in the house. And Gomez, you were the one who brought this film to the show. So I wonder, what did I do to hurt you, and why do you hate me so?
Oh, no, come on. For all those lovely movies I'm grading on the curve.
This is for, like, the musical one, isn't it? This is for the Apple, isn't it?
Payback's a little bit of a bitch.
So before we get into the film, dear listeners, if you do not know what the Garbage Pail Kids is, so you remember once upon a time, Cabbage Patch Kids were a big deal. They were the toy. And then the Garbage Pail Kids trading cards came out, and they were basically the Mad Magazine, Cracked Magazine version of what the Cabbage Patch Kids were. And then someone had the brain ass idea to make a movie out of this. Now, Carrie, you grew up in that era. Did you have a Cabbage Patch Kid, first of all?
I did. And I'm not going to lie. I didn't know this movie existed until 24 hours ago. So I'm new to this, although I did used to collect the Garbage Pail Kid cards and Cabbage Patch dolls. So yes, guilty on both charges.
All right, Gomez, I'm going to ask you if you also collected the Garbage Pail Kids cards.
Oh, hell yes, I did. That was like my enlightenment of my childhood in the 80s.
See, I feel like the outlier here because I never collected the Garbage Pail Kids trading cards. Clearly, I was spending too much money on either whether it be hockey cards or Star Wars movie trading cards, but I never had a Garbage Pail Kids card or sticker or anything of the like. So,
oh my God, you didn't even have the gum?
No. Well, no, I was chewing the gum out of the hockey cards packs, which, if you've ever tried to chew the gum out of any kind of trading card pack, then I'm sure your teeth are probably on the brittle side at this point, because that gum was stronger than Gorilla Glue.
Isn't it amazing that we all survived the 80s and don't have huge dental bills now? Like,
I don't know about that one. 4 root canals later. Hold on, 4 root canals later and a couple of different fake teeth already in my mouth.
Okay, so you definitely had the Garbage Pail Kids then. Okay, cool. So we're good. All right. So there is a lot to unpack from this film. So strap in. We're going to be here for a little bit. But before we go down this road, it is time to take the Garbage Pail Kids movie, oh dear God, and trailerize it.
Tonight, I stand before the gods of cinema and beg your forgiveness. I have knowingly watched that which you have deemed unworthy. I have bitten from the proverbial cinematic apple and stand before you with many questions. What wrong did mankind commit in 1987 to make you unleash this cinematic hell upon the world? What drugs need we consume in order to understand the meaning and message behind the penance you subject us to? Why have you chosen that our cause of death to be the Garbage Pail Kids Movie? Witness the movie equivalent of a try not to question your life choices challenge, filled with flatulence, incontinence, vomit, mucus, slave labor, child abuse, and the unforgivable sin of fat-shaming Santa Claus. There is no escape from the Garbage Pail Kids Movie. Rated PG for pretty gross.
I had to shut the microphone off just for that because I couldn't stop laughing.
I may have. Okay, so dear listeners, if this is your first time tuning into the show, let me explain what we do here. We take movies that have a low critic score and we deem are unfairly maligned, and we try to find the good things to say about them. I'm going to have a real freaking hard time with this film because this may have proven to be the biggest challenge to find positive aspects to. And I have a feeling of the three of us, I might be alone in my opinions.
Dun, dun, dun.
Carrie, am I riding solo on this one here?
I know you all too well.
Wow. I guess you're sleeping on the couch tonight.
No. I'm literally going to be the one in the fetal position while she holds me going, there. The Garbage Pail Kids Movie can't hurt you anymore. We got through the episode. All right.
Damn this Gomez.
You know I love you, dude. You know I love you, but oh, dear God. You gave us a challenge.
Oh, you gave me a challenge on the last one, grading on the curve.
I did apologize in every single one of those episodes, right?
No.
Okay.
Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No, don't. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save whenever you're ready.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
This is the sound of your ride home with Dad after he caught you vaping. Awkward, isn't it? Most vapes contain seriously addictive levels of nicotine and disappointment. Know the real cost of vapes. Brought to you by the FDA.
So, You want to be a marketer. It's easy. You just have to score a ton of leads and figure out a way to turn them all into customers. Plus, manage a dozen channels, write a million blogs, and launch 100 campaigns all at once. When that's done, simply make your socials go viral and bring in record profits. No sweat. Okay, fine. It's a lot of sweat. But with HubSpot's AI-powered marketing tools, launching benchmark-breaking campaigns is easier than ever. Get started at HubSpot.com/marketers.
Let's get into who is in this film. The movie stars Mackenzie Astin, Katie Barbary, Anthony Newley, Ron McLaughlin, JP Amato, and Marjorie Grau. However, there is an almost starring in this movie. And oh dear God, when I read this, I was like, are you kidding me? How did you not go with him? In the role of Juice, as played by Ron McLaughlin, they almost cast, apparently, William Zabka from The Karate Kid.
Mm-hmm.
We almost had William freaking Zabka as Juice in this. How do you not choose William Zabka?
Clearly, he was saved by an agent or something.
Right?
No.
His career was saved.
He was saved by the bell.
Right? The movie was directed by Rodney Amato, who is JP's father, who's in this film. This, of course, would be the last film he would ever direct. However, previous to this movie, he did direct some movies and TV show episodes of Gilligan's Island, The Dukes of Hazzard, and Mr. Ed. However, there's an almost directed by for this film. John Carl Beckler, who prior to this had directed Troll, The Dungeon Master, and Friday the 13th, The New Blood. But he wanted to turn this into a horror film, and I'm questioning if it's not already.
Oh, come on.
I know.
But could you imagine?
I could imagine this to be a horror film.
Pooh, Blood, and Honey, but with Garbage Pail Kids.
Isn't there Winnie the Pooh with blood already in a movie?
Oh, just you wait until frickin' Rob Zombie gets his hand on Steamboat Willie there, or Steamboat Mickey.
Exactly. Like, I want to see the remake. Like, I want to see Rob Zombie take on directing the next Garbage Pail Kids, Garbage Pail Massacre.
That would be kind of cool.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that.
Oh, dear.
A reboot was apparently in the works in 2012. And then they remembered, I guess, that it's the Garbage Pail Kids. And they then promptly canceled it in 2013.
I want to see them take over Sesame Street and kick Oscar out of his can. Huh?
No.
Yeah?
I want to see what... No, I want to see what they do with Elmo. I want to see them rip Elmo's arms right off.
Elmo's feeling sad.
He won't be tickled.
Now,
tickle me and die.
Don't
touch Elmo there.
Oh dear God! What movie were you watching?
Mr. Snuffleupagus loves his long tongue.
Okay, we mentioned the name Mackenzie Astin. He, of course, is the son of John Astin, who is the original Gomez Addams from the Addams Family. Now, we have to point out, because when I realized who the hell this was, and I'm not sitting there going, oh, hey, son of John Astin. No. This is Mackenzie Astin, the future star of The Mating Habits of the Earthbound Human, which is a hilarious film. Sadly qualifies, but on the upside, it qualifies. And one day we are going to go down that road and cover that film, because that film is freaking hilarious. Also, apparently, Mackenzie Astin and Katie Barbary were dating during the making of this film, and then they broke up during production. So we're going to get to that connection a little bit later. But there were some accolades for this film.
And don't forget, he's the brother of Sean.
Right? At the 8th annual Razzie Awards, The Garbage Pail Kids was nominated for Worst New Star. They lost to David Mendenhall for Over the Top. Now, I have a problem with nominating kids for Worst New Star, and I don't think David Mendenhall in Over the Top was that bad. I need to point out, though, that also nominated that year was Jim Varney for Ernest Goes to Camp.
Oh, come on. That's another great movie.
Oh, Gomez. Oh, Gomez. The song You Can Be a Garbage Pail Kid was nominated for Worst Original Song, lost to I Want Your Sex by George Michael in Beverly Hills Cop 2. And the movie was nominated for Worst Visual Effects, lost to Jaws: The Revenge. And at the 1988 Stinkers Bad Movie Awards, it was nominated for Worst Picture. And get your hate on here. You guys are going to lose your mind. This movie lost to Spaceballs. Spaceballs won the Worst Picture Award at the Stinkers Bad Movie Awards.
No.
Yes.
No way. Come on. Spaceballs is a classic.
Right? But it actually qualifies.
As big as mine.
Spaceballs qualifies for the show. Yes.
I would defend that.
I would defend that one with a heartbeat.
But also nominated for Worst Picture that year. Listen to this list and tell me Spaceballs is worse than these. Ishtar, Leonard Part 6, and Who's That Girl? What the hell were they thinking?
Oh, I love that movie.
Wait.
Who's that
Leonard
girl?
Part 6, because it's Bill Cosby, and he didn't have his Jello pudding pops. I mean, whatever. And then, actually, Madonna's Who's That Girl is actually a decent movie.
Right? I mean, I'll give you Ishtar, because it was a bit of a box office bomb. Leonard Part 6.
I don't even know what the hell Ishtar. What the hell's an Ishtar?
It's a movie you shouldn't watch. Six-letter word, movie you shouldn't watch, starts with I. Okay, and Leonard Part 6, take the Bill Cosby in hindsight part out of it, and it's still a bad movie. Funny, but still a bad movie.
Bad movie.
The movie had a budget of $1 million only, with a worldwide gross of $1.5 million. And when it debuted on the August 21st, 1987 weekend, it debuted at number 17 with only $661,000. Now, I want to put this into perspective because it's not exactly a fair statement to put it in here at number 17 because it only debuted in 374 theaters. The highest grossing debut, which debuted at number 2, was Born in East LA, which debuted with $4.3 million. But that debuted in 1,112 theaters. So more than triple the number of theaters. Dirty Dancing actually debuted that weekend as well at number 4 with $3.9 million in 975 theaters. So I got out my abacus and I wanted to figure out how the Garbage Pail Kids movie did on a per theater basis, because there's a sizable difference in the number of theaters that it was in. If you were to measure that weekend's box office by a per theater basis, it still only debuted at number 12. The Big Easy would have been the number 1 ranking film, and it debuted that weekend, but it only debuted in 32 theaters, but it still brought in $353,259, giving it a per theater average of $11,039. That is in comparison to the only $1,768 per theater that the Garbage Pail Kids movie brought in.
If I could just add to that, though, I think they did it a disservice by bringing it into theaters at the end of summer. I think it would have been a completely different picture if it maybe have started like the beginning of July and run through the summer.
If you aim for a March break release, maybe not so bad.
I think it would have done better in Halloween.
You're probably not wrong there either. And it would be good counter programming for horror movies that were being released. I think you're both right in that it probably was released at the worst possible time.
Yeah.
But the reason why we are here, of course, A, Gomez hates me, but B, are the critics.
No, I don't.
Over at Rotten Tomatoes. And Gomez, you say you love this film. I want to put some numbers here to this, okay?
Oh, I know. I've seen the tomatometer.
Oh, no. It gets much, much worse.
Oh, jeez.
Over at Rotten Tomatoes, the film has a tomatometer of 0% and a popcorn meter of 27%. Here's where it gets really bad. Over at Metacritic, this film has a Metascore of 1. 1. I want to put this into perspective. There are only 5 other movies in the history of Metacritic that actually have a Metascore of 1. 2018's Death of a Nation. 2005's Chaos, with stars Kevin Gage and Sage Stallone in what is described as a very ultra-violent and needlessly ultra-violent film. Biodome with Pauly Shore has a Metacritic score of 1. 2005's United Passions, which stars Gerard Depardieu, Sam Neill, and Tim Roth. And a movie from 2003 called The Singing Forest, which has been called the worst film ever about the Holocaust. The Garbage Pail Kids movie is not exactly in great company, and I think the most egregious of all that is the fact that Biodome is on the list. But
Which
then you
I'm
have
surprised,
right? The rest of the numbers. At IMDb, the film has a 2.7 star rating for 27%. At Letterboxd, it is at 1.8 stars out of 5 for a 36%. And at the movie database, it has a score of 36%, giving this film an aggravated aggregate of 21.16%. So, Carrie, I'm going to start with you. Of all the numbers that I just threw at you, and that's a lot of numbers, where do you put the Garbage Pail Kids movie?
Oh, I was to assume there's no math on the quiz today.
Hey, I had to pull out a calculator and do all that work. So you got to tell me where you feel the Garbage Pail Kids movie kind of sits.
I maintain that the critics suck. First of all, I'm still not overhearing about Spaceballs, but I digress. I really enjoyed this movie. I'm going to put it right out there that I disagree. I strongly disagree. Obviously, so just bring me back here. What was the overall number? Because you did throw some numbers at me, and I don't know.
The aggravated aggregate of 6 different numbers, 6 different metrics is 21.16%.
Okay, so that's what it was sitting at.
Yes.
But what's the tomatometer?
The tomatometer is straight up 0.
It's a donut. Okay. You know what? I disagree with all of the above. I mean, now you keep mentioning it as a horror movie. I didn't see it as a horror movie at all. I saw it as like a fun.
It should have been. It should have freaking been.
No.
It's like the movie The Leprechaun. I'm the Leprechaun.
Leprechaun was better than this, that's for sure.
It understood the assignment.
Did it though?
It was exactly what I would have pictured from bringing those like silly cards, and they were just so silly, right? Like it brought it to life and gave it life, whether that was right or wrong. It giveth and taketh away. I don't know, but it was, I think the movie should be sitting, what? Like, I don't know, like, was it a 50% movie? Maybe not, but definitely higher than 21, and definitely deserves way more respect than 0.
All right, Gomez, you're the one who brought this to the party. Where would you put it before we get into the breakdown?
I know I'm going to get for it, but I'm going to say 50%.
Okay, so the tomato is still green, regardless of.
Listen, I'm going to tell you one thing about those tomatoes. Okay, first of all, they need to get their head out of their butts, because they wouldn't know a good movie to smack them across the face.
Well,
that's my opinion.
At 0%, no one.
But that's what I hate about them. You know what I mean? Because they really can't enjoy something that they weren't kids. That was the problem in the 80s. They had to stick up their butts, and they had the freaking New York Post probably in front of their faces and go, "Oh, I'm going to be a movie reviewer because I don't like this movie.
Okay.
You know,
Well, then
that's me.
Let's get the critics out of the equation here, though. If we were taking the Letterboxd and the movie database scores, which both equal 36%.
I would say 50.
You would say 50? Carrie, 36% if you're looking at that?
You know what? I think that's fair. I mean, it depends. Like, it depends on your expectations. I think it was exactly what I expected of it. And it was enjoyable. And I wouldn't pan it for being what it was because it was exactly what you would expect. It had all of the, you know, the 80s hair and the like larger than life costumes, and the wardrobe was on point. And let's not forget to mention, like, it literally brought to life these really grotesque like versions of Cabbage Patch dolls and like the alligator with the foot fetish, you know, like they were wonderful adaptations. I mean, obviously they were like little masks on children actors, I'm sure.
No, they weren't actually. They were actually dwarfs.
Oh, really?
They were little people, yeah.
Oh, but you know what? And obviously, like, it was on point to any 80s movie with the product placement from Pepsi and from Converse. And I really liked this movie.
All right, well, let's get into the breakdown here and try to figure out why you two are so broken. Mackenzie Astin as Dodger. Gomez, I'm going to go to you first. Your thoughts on him?
Oh, listen, broken little boy, you know, first of all, feel sorry for him because Sean Astin was successful. He wasn't, you know, but I thought the part he had was good. You know, he's a struggling kid. He's working for pocket money for Captain Mancini over there with this store, like a thrift store almost, you know what I mean? Like one of those third-hand stores. He plays this little musical box and he falls in love with a fruit juice. I'm sorry, a girl named Tangerine. You know, which that's a name we really need to talk about, with her evil, ugly boyfriend, Guidoed out Juice. You know, he tries to fit in. He tries to be somebody who's not, where he's trying to figure out his own way. I thought he did a good job in this part, actually, because he kind of grows a little bit. You see him cry a little bit. You see him laugh a little bit. You see him fight. I thought watching him fight was hilarious.
Well, I mean, okay, I need to address this now, because as I was watching this, I'm like, he seems a little young to be going after Tangerine. And then you realize that they were dating in real life at the time. So I looked it up, and there was really only 1 year difference between Mackenzie Astin and Katie Barbary.
He looked like he was like 10, and she looked like she was like 18.
I know, right? Like that was...
I will say that.
You know, so once you know the reality of it, it's not so bad. But on screen, and if you don't know, you're like, this seems awkward, but okay. But it's one of those things where I don't mind him in this. There's a lot that needs to be discussed about the working relationship, because at times I'm like, is Captain Manzini an employer? Is he family? Why is he bathing in the store with everyone watching? Like, there's a lot to be questioned about him in this movie, but I don't hate him in this. And the fact that he is, you know, he has an ambition because he likes Tangerine. He wants to do whatever he can in order to be with her, except for the fact that she's not exactly the best person, but he doesn't see that because clearly he's thinking like every other teenage boy. Carrie, your thoughts on Mackenzie Astin?
I think he was like the perfect version of like the nerd falling in love with the popular girl. And it was so like storybook ending that, you know, he winds up, I don't know, like, did he actually really get with her in the end, or it just kind of ended?
No. There was the line where he goes like, no, I don't think you're pretty anymore. And I'm just like, oh my God, you just devastated her. Right. She's devastated now. You just said the worst thing possible.
Okay, I love that turnaround though. that in the end, it was like he came full circle and he was actually the good guy.
I think my problem with this is that they don't really do much to show him. Tangerine is such an unlikable character. And you don't want Dodger to be with the unlikable character. And you don't want his heart broken. And I get that. And he plays that off well. But really, he's getting the Garbage Pail Kids to do all this absolute slave labor. He's ignoring their wants and all for the love of a girl, which he's not really getting love. It's because it's all very fake. All the while, should be helping them rather than, just flirting with her all the time. And that's the thing. Some of the choices that he makes make Dodger start to become unlikable. Like, I wish they had shown more of Dodger trying his best to help the Garbage Pail Kids and weighing that responsibility as opposed to weighing his wants for Tangerine.
But he's a teenage boy. I would be after Tangerine too.
He is a teenage boy, and we do have to take a little bit of, I can't believe I'm saying this, we have to add a little bit of reality to the Garbage Pail Kids movie, but I understand that. Anthony Newley, who played Captain Manzini. Carrie, your thoughts?
I liked him. Oh my God, he was so fun. He was so likable and so magical. And yeah, every line that he delivered, I was like, oh, you're enjoyable to watch. He made the movie. I'm putting it out there. He was great.
Gomez, your thoughts on Captain Manzini?
A little weird. I will say that but he was a good weird because he wants to help. You know what I mean? He's willing to do what it takes too as a captain, I guess, foresee his name. Try to keep the Garbage Pail Kids out of trouble, stuck in their garbage pail. You know what I mean? Hence the movie, hence the name. But he's also just trying to help Dodger be somebody, be somebody important, not like a bum or a loser or something. So, he's got some decent qualities in himself.
Here's what I didn't understand about his dynamic, though. Clearly, he had a past involvement, run-in with these Garbage Pail Kids because he knew that they were in the garbage pail. So why was he so... First of all, he was so like trying to get them back into the garbage pail. He wanted them to go away. But then when they went away to the, I don't know, jail for the ugly people.
The state home for ugly people.
Home for the ugly people. No, it was the state home for the ugly.
Yes.
Then, he had that character turn and he saved them. So really what, I want to know more. I want to know his backstory. I want to know the first run-in.
Oh, okay.
I bet you
I want to see the prequel.
I think his kid was one of the Garbage Pail Kids.
You never know because he keeps referring to them as children.
His children.
Right,
as
exactly.
His children.
And, okay. So he wants to help the Garbage Pail Kids, and I'm fine with that. And he wants to make sure they go back in the garbage pail because he knows the mischief that they can get up to. Okay, I'm fine with that. I'm willing to take all of this into stride. He does one magic spell properly. One. The laundry spell. One. For all we know, it's a voice-activated laundry machine, but whatever. We'll accept it as that one spell that works, and every other spell he tries, it doesn't work. When he's trying to rescue the Garbage Pail Kids from the state home for the ugly, my brain is fighting me as I say these words. How does he not try to use magic along the way? If he's supposed to be some magical character that does know how to use, for lack of a better term, the mystic arts, you gave us one spell to clean laundry and that was it. Also, there are things that he says that make you think that he's not necessarily of this world, that he is from another world, which isn't exactly helped by the fact that the opening credits features a flying spaceship trash can that we can only assume is the trash can that held the Garbage Pail Kids before they landed on Earth. Which, what? Also, again, we have to get to why is he so invested in helping Dodger out. I mean, I get it. He comes off as a nice character, very, very Peter Falk-esque, almost like a British Columbo, if you will. Like that. That's the kind of vibe you're getting off of him. And I did like him in this. He came across as a very family-friendly do-gooder in this film. But like, there's so many little threads that were there, and they were never. It's like you get one magic spell, and that's all you get. That is literally all you get. I'll clean your clothes with magic. That's it. I wanted more to Captain Manzini because they didn't put enough of him in there to really justify. Like, they should have spent more time on him trying to figure out how to get the Garbage Pail Kids back in. And then the fact that Dodger's having them do all this slave labor, like, why is that not a point of conflict in this film at all?
They got good taste, by the way, with their clothes.
Okay, but still, right? Like at some point, Captain Manzini has to sit there and say, just because you like this girl doesn't mean you should, keep them out of the garbage pail, because you never know what they're going to get up to. Like there's a lot of loose threads in this film that aren't really tied together. I didn't dislike him. I think they actually picked the perfect person for the character. The character needed more flushing out.
All right, I'll give you that. I think you're right on that note, but I think that was the whole point of his secretive look. You know what I mean? Like, if you remember during the movie, he's trying to figure out this song to put him back in the pail.
Right. I wish, and just hear me out on this, if they're going to spend some time with Captain Manzini trying these different spells and musical passages in order to try to reverse what has happened and been unleashed, have him try some of these things and have them have adverse effects. Like have something else fly into the garbage can. Like have it so that it's a bumbling sort of way around his magic. Like, he can do magic, but he's not very good at it. So this is why it's taking him so long to be able to put them back in, because he had that laundry spell down pat. And then there's everything else. Show him not as good at magic as his laundry skills make us believe him to be. And then it becomes a bit more fun at that point, because then you can have a little bit of slapstick humor with that along the way. Mm-hmm. It's a nice way to break up the, boy wants girl, boy uses alien race to make clothes to get girl kind of storyline.
I want to disagree with that, because I think that the ongoing theme of the movie was to help him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what Mangini was doing. He was helping him. The Garbage Pail Kids were helping. I think that was really cool, actually.
But also, wasn't there like a deal, like if they helped him to help Dodger to get the girl, wasn't like they had besides find the home of the ugly, to find the rest of the children.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the whole point, the rest of the Garbage Pail Kids, because there was more than just those 7.
Right.
There was a boatload of them.
And it's thought that those other Garbage Pail Kids are at the state home for the ugly. It's implied, at least. So they're trying to break in there, and that's what Captain Manzini is trying to do. And I'm cool with that. It almost feels like Captain Manzini's focus at that point is on the Garbage Pail Kids and not on Dodger. So there's got to be a juggling act at some point, or at least I'm going to do this, you do this, and we'll make sure that the Garbage Pail Kids don't get into trouble. Spoiler alert, they get into trouble.
Oh, yeah, they do, big time.
Katie Barbary, who played Tangerine. Carrie, your thoughts?
I thought she was good. I thought she was, again, of the 3 of her friends, or her boyfriend and the other 2, I thought she really had the kindest heart until, it became very aware. Like, you became aware that she was very self-centered. But I think maybe that was kind of, she was so used to being kind of like, I don't know, the popular girl, and it kind of just got to her. But I don't think that was really her personality. Like, I think underneath it all, underneath the big hair and the beautiful clothes and the high heels and the behind the sports car and the, I don't know, boyfriend that I guess he was supposed to be good looking. It was kind of like a greaser kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, I pictured her very much like a pink lady. And so she was the popular girl. And underneath it all, she really did have, I think, the kindest heart, at least of the three of them. And I think that Dodger kind of brought that out. But in the end, it was too late. And good on him.
I'm going to argue on this one here.
Okay.
Because I don't see Tangerine as a good person. I don't.
She was the nicest of, like, her friend was pure evil. That blonde chick.
That's like saying being stabbed by a fork is better than being stabbed by a Rambo knife, because one's not going to hurt you as much. The problem here is that while she comes across as nicer at times, and I was with you for a bit in the beginning, right? But then it becomes all about becoming a famous designer, and she's using him, and she's still she's basically running errands and, including juice on everything. There was no redemption arc for her whatsoever in this. And because it was all played at face value, and she was basically using Dodger, and she would have ditched him in a second because she was still with Juice, and she was always going to be with Juice. And I appreciate that, her relationship with Juice is kind of like an abusive relationship, and there could have been a line for a redemption arc there. But at the end of the day, she still turned on Dodger. And the fact that they don't end up together because Dodger finally came to his frickin' senses means that Tangerine ends the film as a person. And you're not supposed to want Dodger to get with Tangerine because Tangerine is using him.
No, I realize that. But at the end, you want to see her get, her just desserts, right? Like, she used him, yes. I think in the beginning, though, she was kind enough that she felt, I could see that she felt bad that he was being bullied.
Not really.
She did. She went into the shop. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She went in the shop out of pity. I think she was showing her true colors. Don't forget. I think with Tangerine, she tried to be, I'm going to help you, but I'm going to get my freaking way. You know what I mean? That's what the whole thing with her. She was trying to be sneaky.
Yeah.
And she almost got away with it.
She runs with a bad crew, and she using Dodger to try to get her way out of being in the bad crew, but it just shows that she belongs with the bad people. Now, I will give Katie Barbary a lot of credit in that she created a character that made you question if she was going to turn out to be a good person. She added an ambiguity to her motives. Was she actually interested in Dodger? Was she going to turn things around? Was she going to turn on Juice? Well, no, and no. But he still thought that there was a possibility for it. And it at least gave Garbage Pail Kids movie something to wonder about. Maybe, I don't know. But I don't know. I think the problem is this. This is a movie for kids. There's no question about this. This is a movie for kids. And at the end of the film, is it really a happy ending? The guy doesn't get the girl. The Garbage Pail Kids didn't find their friends at the State Home for the Ugly. They're, I guess, whatever, in that garbage truck or whatever, that they didn't make it in time. Juice doesn't really get his comeuppance. He just gets I got beat up a little bit, and then the kids started to cry and everything stopped. This film, I'm trying to find the moral of the film, because in the end of the day, a kid's film needs to have a moral or at least some kind of happy ending. And I don't feel like we stuck that landing.
Actually, I think they did a little bit, because I think it's showing Dodger who he's trying to grow up, trying to be a man. He's going from a boy to teenager a little bit. You know what I mean? So I figured he got used, he got abused, and he's going to go after what he believes in. You know what I mean? And I think there is a little bit of a 80s concept motive in there. Not a whole lot, but I think there's something there that they didn't exploit as much as, like you said before. I did a decent job where they showed the emotions of being bullied, which everyone has been bullied before. It doesn't matter if you are the bullier or the bullyee. I've been both. Shows raw emotions for a lady, you know, the girl that you can't have. You know what I mean? Like a nerd like myself when I was growing up. I know the one girl I couldn't have because why? She was the popular girl in class. So it's always the jocks that went on that point until I got to high school. You know, and then there's the point of the saving of the other children, the Garbage Pail Kids. You know what I mean? So there is some morals to this movie. Did they exploit it? Well, probably not. Would I go back and fix it in the 80s? I think I would have done a little bit better exploiting some of the qualities that they didn't do a very good job showing off on.
I can agree with you in that Dodger does have, you know, that almost, you know, come to his senses moment, in that he realizes that Tangerine isn't as, you know, for lack of a better term, as pretty as he once thought. You know, and clearly he's probably talking more about her personality and her soul rather than her looks.
Right.
You know, and it's a decent enough line in order to be able to get around it. But you know, there's a lot more here that could have been a bit of a happier ending. You know, and maybe it's not supposed to be that way. Maybe they don't want to go down that, oh, he gets the girl kind of thing because he used the Garbage Pail Kids. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm seeing this in a completely incorrect light from what they intended to do. But I don't know. It felt like an odd. It didn't stick the potential moral landing that it could have.
What if we were to look at it differently? Sorry.
No, go ahead, Kelly. Go ahead. You go.
Well, I'm just thinking out loud here. Like, it's really the Garbage Pail Kids movie. And really, is it such a sad ending for them? Like, they were freed from the garbage pail where they didn't want to go back. You know, obviously, there's quite a few of them. You know, I'm sure it was cramped in there. And they were released from the state prison for the ugly. And so in the end, they found a friend and they got to experience a movie. All they wanted to do was to go out to a movie and to a bar, the world's toughest bar. And
okay, that was funny.
They had
that was great.
They had you know what? I think if you look at it like it's their movie and they had a good time, and you know, instead of focusing on the human aspect and the storytelling there, like, I think they had a pretty good time. And I think that was really all that I could have expected from this movie.
Okay, you brought this up, so now it is time to go down this road, okay? So,
Normies.
When we were watching this film, you had said to me, it kind of feels like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film from back in the 80s.
Yes.
Here's the difference, though, and you kind of alluded to it with what you were just saying, in that in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film, the movie is about the turtles, right? It's got to be about the turtles. Yes, April O'Neil is there. That's great. No problem. Cool. Casey Jones is there. No problem. Cool. But the film is about the freaking turtles. And it is.
And Vanilla Ice.
That was the second one.
That's right.
He wasn't in the first.
That's right.
Okay,
He wasn't
fair
in the
enough.
first movie.
We haven't jumped the ice shark yet at this point. But the movie's about the turtles. So,
and pizza.
As it should be, the focus was exactly where it needed to be, on the turtles. Here, yes, the movie should very much be about the Garbage Pail Kids, but we spend an hour and a half following Johnny Lovelorn as he tries to get his aerobics clad 80s teen dream kind of thing, and the Garbage Pail Kids are left to a bunch of fart and piss jokes.
But I think there was just enough of that. Like, if the whole movie had been about the Garbage Pail Kids, it would be pretty disgusting. So
Yeah, because there were times when you were like, oh, he's pissing again.
oh, piddles.
Gomez. Okay, since we're talking about this, it's the Garbage Pail Kids movie. Was the focus where it needed to be as far as the plot went?
I think they could have focused on the kids a little bit more than the whole Dodger love story, Tangerine and Juice, was like, hey man, I got a knife, 80s cliche. But I think they could have done a little bit more with the kids or the young adults at that point. I think they could have done a little bit more, a better job on that. I mean, listen, they come out of the garbage pail. You got little Snotty over there. You got Vomit Wendy. You got Greaser Greg. He thinks he's John Travolta there with the big head and that slick hairdo. You got Alligator, which is still my favorite guy. And what the hell was the guy's name that pissed himself?
Oh,
He was nerdy.
Nerd something, yeah. Like, and that's the thing. Like, these characters are so one-dimensional. Oh, hey, you're like a 50s greaser. Oh, you fart a lot. Oh, and you're all snot covered. And you occasionally piss yourself while you're wearing a discount Garbage Pail Kids super suit. There's not much more beyond what was on the cards with these characters. And at that point, it's like, okay, if you're going to make a movie about the Garbage Pail Kids, can we get past, the one-liner introduction to each of these kids? Because there was a whole lot of just the same joke over and over again. Like, when they're at the toughest bar in the world and, Windy Wally or whatever his name is gets up on the bar and farts and like the mustache falls off the guy, that's funny. That's fucking
that was
funny.
Great.
Right?
That was good.
Dude pissing himself was tired after like the third time, and there's more than 3 times when he just stops and pisses himself. Like, whoo.
But you know what? Just with that, like, they could have done so much more of the actual physical humor. Like, I was thinking about that scene with the guy's mustache that fell off, and I'm like, I wanted to see more of that.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the funny thing. When some of the Garbage Pail Kids show up at the bar and they end up in that brawl, like, at this point, I'm like, yes, finally the film is about the Garbage Pail Kids, and it's more than just we're going to sit in the basement and, like, fart and piss and do whatever, and I swear to God, right? Like, that baby comes up and another one goes, Mommy! Like, oh dear God.
Oh, but the popcorn, when she sneezed and the popcorn went all over the theater. I thought that was hilarious.
Right, because that was when the film was about the Garbage Pail Kids.
Exactly.
And that was fun.
And like Carrie said earlier, Alligator was after the guy's toes.
Yeah, discount Tarantino fetish. It's all good. It's okay. But the funny thing is that when the focus was on the Garbage Pail Kids movie, you got some of that slapstick humor, you got some of that fish out of water humor, and that worked. But then you were bogged down with this uninteresting teenage love story at the heart of it, and you can't walk both lines. If it's freaking Michael Bay should have learned this one, right? You want a Transformers movie? It's about the robots. I don't care about Shia LaBeouf. I don't care. I don't. Give me robots battling robots, and that's it. That's it. Forget the wikis. That's it. Here, make a film about the Garbage Pail Kids. Make them be the focus and not just the side quest.
Or have it more like, I'm kind of thinking of Howard the Duck. Like, have kind of an interaction between the Garbage Pail Kids and the humans. And they did to an extent, but have more of that dynamic.
But the thing is, with Howard the Duck, you're right? There was that personal connection between Howard and Leah Thompson's character. And
come on, they almost slept with each other in the bed.
Right? But the thing is, Howard was very much the star of the film, and Leah Thompson helped him in trying to get back home. That was the focus. The focus of the Howard the Duck film was about Howard the Duck. It wasn't all about Leah Thompson. It wasn't all about Tim Robbins, right? It was about freaking Howard the Duck. If you're going to make the title character, the title of the film should be the central focus, not freaking Dodger.
Well, I think Dodger was just a side piece.
Yeah, he was the side quest. He was absolutely the side quest. But here's the thing. If the Garbage Pail Kids were more active in trying to get Dodger to be more confident about himself and to try to help him see that he doesn't need to be anything but Dodger for someone to like him in their own Garbage Pail Kids kind of way, and at the same time, the Garbage Pail Kids realize that they're not, even though they're looking for their friends at the State Home for the Ugly, they're not really ugly. They're just a little rough on the outside, but the inside they're like, you could have had a much more family friendly PG-13 PG rating kind of feel to this film. Instead, it was an hour and a half of fart and piss jokes.
You gotta admit though, when Wendy, whatever fart master was, you gotta admit that was kind of funny when he goes, "Ugly, I'll give you ugly."
Right?
And he just ripped ass right there in front of everybody.
Again, the comedy comes from the title character.
This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like to check the date of the big game first before you accidentally buy tickets on your 20th wedding anniversary and have to spend the next 20 years of your marriage making up for it. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
Gift the remarkable with Marc Jacobs fragrances this holiday season. From the iconic Daisy and Perfect to the all-new Daisy Wild, Marc Jacobs perfume gift sets include everything she needs to feel special. From her favorite fragrance, plus the matching travel spray. Holiday gifts don't get much more perfect than this. So if you're looking for a gift inspiration these holidays, gift the remarkable with Marc Jacobs.
Blinds.com is kicking off the savings early with Black Friday mega deals all month long. A Blinds.com design expert can help you make the perfect selection on your schedule. We can even handle everything from measure to your whole home installed for just one low cost. With over 25 million windows covered, Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. Save up to 45% on select styles, plus a free professional measure right now at Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Ron McLaughlin, who played Juice, not William Zabka, Ron McLaughlin. Gomez, your thoughts?
Oh my God, what a dirty grease monkey they made him into. I mean, his character was, oh God, that was rough. Watching him and his little cronies, trying to be all tough, like 80s tough with their stupid little jumpsuits, you know what I mean? And they're one with the girl who thought she was stronger than everybody, and the other guy who he was just a total tool bag. You're talking about the quintessential tool. He was the tool. Juice was just the leader of the gang that he just wants money, and he's taking Tangerine for a ride. So that means she just shows how dumb she can be because she doesn't even know she's being used by Juice.
Yep. Carry your thoughts.
Okay, can I just say that I love their character names? Like you've got like Tangerine and Juice. So like orange juice.
I just literally put that together now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Just like Orange Juice Jones.
Right? Ooh, I can't believe I did not put two and two together. That's how much this movie has broken my brain. I'm only now, today, at this moment in the show, putting two and two together. But yeah, your thoughts on Juice.
I thought, again, he was like the perfect greaser. That's exactly, like, there's no other way of putting it. It was literally like watching Grease meets Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles meets the Garbage Pail Kids meets, no, like it, as far as like character, I thought he was absolutely perfect for being just a sleazy, horrible bad guy.
See, I agree with you, but then I don't agree with you. I agree with you in that how he treats Tangerine sets up his character very well, and how he kind of runs his crew. And that's I'm with you on this. But at the same time, you also took some of the menace out of his character. And I point to the scene where Dodger, they bring Dodger down to like the sewer pipes, which clearly run the sewers to everything. And they tie him up to the pole, and then they open the sewage drain on him. So Juice and Wally together can't open the sewage pipe. They have to bring in Blythe, the muscle-bound girl, to open the drainage pipe, and she does it effortlessly. So in that moment, you have taken the command, and Juice shouldn't be the one who's dirtying his hands. He shouldn't be the one, putting the muscle on to Dodger. Everyone else should be doing. He should be the one calling the shots, and it's like you do it. Just do. You take the authority away from him when you have him try to do things that he can't do, and then Blythe comes in and just does it in no time flat.
I think though, Gomez, you were totally right. Like it was a bumbling crew of idiots, really.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think that was kind of perfectly perfect that you've got like the tough chick. She's the one that can,
she's WWE China.
Yeah.
I mean, since we're talking about Marjorie Grau, who played Blythe, I mean, there was a massive missed opportunity for some good comedy in this film. And remember, this is an 80s film for kids, so you want to have some kind of slapsticky kind of humor here. So you got JP Amato, who played Wally, who was the most useless gang member ever. And then you had Marjorie Grau, who literally, she looked like she could have been Wendy Richter's bodyguard during the old WWF days. And yet she was also like the strongest member of the crew. She was the one who was able to lift people, and there was no problem whatsoever. But she was also clearly in a relationship with Wally. So here was a perfect opportunity for an odd couple kind of slapsticky comedy kind of thing where like Blythe really is the muscle behind the crew, even though Wally's trying to prove that he's the muscle behind the crew. It's one of those things where they didn't give Blythe much more to do except for stand there, point, laugh at Dodger, and then be strong.
I don't think we needed any more of her.
See, I think she was a more interesting character than Wally was. There's no question about that. Like the minute Wally shows up with his glasses and his, discount chainmail looking muscle shirt with no muscles whatsoever to fill it out with, like make Blythe the I guess the yardstick for just how bad everyone else in the crew is.
I kind of agree on that too, but she was just good as the quiet center, don't say much, type of actress.
But in that sense, then don't give her any lines whatsoever, right? Make her the silent secret weapon of the crew. But then Juice should be telling her what to do, not try to do it himself, and then have to get Blythe to come in and do it, because then you eliminate the menace that Juice could have.
I think that's where Juice lacks in his Guido-ness. There is his toughness.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm trying to make more out of the Garbage Pail Kids movie than probably should be made out of, but there was opportunity here to have some fun with this and to create some funnier moments.
I think you're right. There could have been some more funnier moments, but also, how can you be making fun of Santa Claus in this movie? He was in the Stay at Home with the Ugly.
Okay. Can we talk about the Stay Home for the Ugly for a second here? Because I'm fine with, kind of fat shaming Santa Claus as a joke. But at the end of the day, then, what is this movie trying to say? Because it feels very judgmental in having all these, too fat, too skinny, too,
Think about the 80s, right? As a child of the 80s, what were the biggest things that bullies ever picked on? Either you were too fat, you were too small, you're too nerdy, you're too smart, you're not smart enough. I think that was the point that they were trying to make in this movie, that no one's ever perfect. There's no such thing as the perfect person. Everyone is their own person and individually. Hey, great example, me. I'm a big guy. I love who I am. I don't give a crap. Hey, listen, if I got a 120-pound swimsuit model next to me, I'd be like, good Lord, how did I score her? But whatever, I'll take it. But at the end of the day, we're our own individual person. I think that's where it comes from a little bit. And the 80s is so much different than what it is now. You know what I mean? So I don't think they meant to hit on that, but they were hinting that what was going on. Because if you look at the years of the 80s movies, Ferris Bueller was a year before this. 16 Candles, Weird Science. It was all about that type of kind of bullying, because you might be a nerd or you might not be. You know what I mean? Either you're a rock star or you're a jock. So I think they were just trying to emulate a little bit of what's going on at that time, compared to where we are now.
But in that sense, and let's take Revenge of the Nerds as a perfect example, right? Yes, it is very much a them, us versus them kind of feel for that film. But at the end of the day, the nerds rise up in triumph. A film like Summer School, where it's literally a summer class full of misfits and dropouts and people who are, for lack of a better term, behind the curve, and yet together they rise up and become better for it. Everyone who's in a cage in the Garbage Pail Kids movie does nothing to prove to them, to the cops who are there, or whatever the case, or to even do anything to get themselves out of the predicament. It's like you got to wait for Dodger and, Captain Manzini to get them out. Like, again, if you have a film where it's supposed to be for kids, and there's an opportunity for a positive moral message about, doesn't matter how different you are, you're just as good. I don't know, Carrie, maybe I'm overthinking this, but
I think maybe, but I mean, how long has Santa Claus been locked up? How long was the too hairy man or the too silly clown? Like, if they've been there for quite some time, they may have lost their fight. They might just be resigned to the fact that they're locked up. Like, it's not good, but
no.
I don't know. There's just, to me, there's a bunch of negative messages in this film that kind of take away from what it could have been. Because I agree in that the building blocks are there. There is the potential, even with the same characters and even with a similar storyline, there is the potential to make a film that takes all the grotesqueness that the Garbage Pail Kids are. And let's be honest, they are.
They are.
And to turn it into a positive message. Like, when I watch this film, the first thing that comes to mind, and I can't believe I'm saying this, is Freddy Got Fingered. In that, was there even a plot to Freddy Got Fingered? Or is it just a random series of Tom Green moments?
Tom Green moments.
Because it kind of feels like that. Yeah. Like, the only thing I walk out of Freddy Got Fingered with is, Daddy, would you like some sausage? And that's about it.
But I thought that the deal was, and maybe I misunderstood, but when I was watching it, like, the deal is that the Garbage Pail Kids make the clothes, and then that it eventually becomes known that they're wonderful fashion designers and that they would be accepted amongst the human race.
But see, and here was an opportunity to give Tangerine some redemption, right? She sees these ugly characters and she's disgusted because she's all about image, right? But when she sees their talent and what they can do, that should be an eye-opening moment that you should not be judging a book by its cover. But instead, it just gives her an opportunity to be even more greedy and to be more selfish, and it just goes down the wrong road. Plus, you have a kids movie in the 80s that's not about friendship in the end?
Well, you know what? They had a beautiful opportunity during the fashion show when the Garbage Pail Kids were like causing mayhem. I think that would have been the perfect moment to turn it around and for her to have just said, I want to welcome my design team or the ones who made these creations happen, right? Like brought them to life. And you know what? Had she done that, boom, you would have had your happy ending.
Yeah.
I do have a double question that something we didn't hit on. Where the hell did they get the ATVs from?
Behind the garbage dumpster.
I mean, I am willing to believe that Captain Manzini had these at some point, like whenever the last time the Garbage Pail Kids were out, right before the movie. There's a prequel that I'm sure is there to be made. I have no idea why he would have 3 ATVs, one with a wheelbarrow on the back kind of thing, so they could cart the rest of them. There are many questions of this film as to why things are the way they are, but I guess my question is, and Gomez, I'm going to start with you. And I recognize that you loved this film as a kid. And I get that. I get that. And
still do to this day.
Yeah. But, and when you're a kid, like, yeah, fart and piss jokes and whatnot are funny as hell. And yeah, I am of a certain vintage and I still laugh at farts and poop jokes and whatnot. I have no problem admitting this, but in hindsight, watching this, is there something you would change looking back at it now as not just an older gentleman, but as a dad as well?
I would actually change the story a little bit more to make it a little bit more in depth, without Dodger and Tangerine. First of all, I would rechange everybody's name. I would definitely not hire tool bags for some parts of the movie. No, but I would like to say, definitely I would like to retune that movie, to make it more about the Garbage Pail Kids, a little bit more focused on them than being, it's kind of funny you said slave. I didn't even think about that until you said that. I'm like, wow, yeah, you're right. They were slaves working for Tangerine and Dodger to get her clothing line up to par, and she takes all the credit for it, not them or Dodger, who's helping out. Where he's wearing his wife beater and a clip-on necktie and his cool jacket at the end of the movie, you know what I mean? Which I never would do again. It was just, I think I would redo that part a little bit more, do more of the humor part of the Garbage Pail Kids, Nat Nerd with him peeing. It's like he's like that Wetsy Betsy doll, you know what I mean? That keeps peeing every 30 seconds. I definitely would have said the vomiting chick would have been cool to see more. You only got to see her vomit once throughout the whole entire movie.
Which was enough for Carrie.
That was a lot of puke. I mean, Greaser Greg, the tough 50s guy, you know what I mean, with the big hair. I could have done a little bit better job with him a little bit. Winston Windy, him and his farts are great. Alligator, his factory eating with toes is unbelievable. The snotty girl. But the question I had, the one character is that hideous, I hate to say this, but hideous hideous baby Garbage Pail Kid. His like secret power is bad breath. Are you my daddy?
I think it's hilarious that our youngest kept like coming into the room downstairs. We were watching this, and he would look at the TV and look at us. And I think it was actually, if it wasn't the movie theater / bar scene that he was in the room for, or no, they were also in the basement at one point. That was when the introduction to the Garbage Pail Kids. And anyway, our son looked at us like, what is this? Like, what is the? And he would go away and then come back and be like, oh, it's still on.
I would have loved to have seen your sons.
Thousands in therapy, I'm sure that we're heading for.
If you ever wanted to know what a 12-year-old what the face looks like, we found out pretty damn quick.
Oh,
but
oh my god!
And I'll give this movie credit where credit is due. The makeup and the prosthetics that were used to create the look of the Garbage Pail Kids was pretty accurate to what the Garbage Pail Kids cards looked like. And I recognize that, especially on only a $1 million budget, you're not going to have the fantastic animatronic work that you had with Howard the Duck, because that's a freaking George Lucas production, right? You're not going to have the greatest production value on only $1 million. I appreciate that. And I think they actually did a fairly good job with the budget that they had.
I think the facial expressions were horrifying in some scenes.
I know, but
it made it frightening.
But keep in mind, we're watching this in 2024. So we're watching this with the benefit of knowing what it could look like. In 1987, it's a little bit of a different story, and we take a lot more for granted in the 80s, especially when we were younger, right? But yeah, when a 12-year-old looks at a film and then looks at his parents and then wonders if the parents are going to be okay, that's not necessarily a good thing for the film. So, just around the horn, Gomez, watching this now as opposed to watching it then, is it still the movie you thought it was?
Yes.
Carrie, watching this now, is this the property that you thought it was, and did you enjoy it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love you guys, but you guys are messed up. This is the one time where I'm sitting there and I'm like, I wonder if the critics were actually right.
Wow.
Harsh.
I don't think it's a 0%, because in all fairness, I don't think any movie ever is a 0%.
Oh.
But that being said,
there
was a lot more that could have been done for this film to really make it good. I think the potential is there. I think there are positive aspects that could have been, if given the time and given the space, better developed. Had you recognized who the star of the movie should be and who the audience is and aimed towards that, then I think the movie could have been much better. Do I think this is the worst film of all time ever made? No, I don't. Do I put it on a 0? Because some of the movies we've talked about that are 0% films on this show are way better than 0%. I think 20% might be a reach, but I think it's definitely better than the Rotten Tomatoes critics score. Yeah. But it was hard. It was hard. I think by the very mandate of the show, it is better than what the critics say it was. But there's a lot that could have been done to it. Before we get to our MVPs, though, Carrie, I'm going to start with you. We had mentioned at the beginning of the show that there was the potential for a reboot in 2012. We're now 12 years after that thought process. Is there room for a Garbage Pail Kids movie to be done today, or is the time for that past?
Oh, that's a great question because, I mean, my growing up as a child in the 80s heart is saying, yes, do it. And especially since you had really good points that there's more that they could have done with the storyline, and there's more that I want to see of the Garbage Pail Kids. I think there's a lot of opportunity there for some really slapstick humor. But I am going to say that obviously the look on our 12-year-old's face was saying it all, that I think that it's a different time, and I don't think that Garbage Pail Kids cards are even a thing. And even if they were, they would be like, found at a flea market or like a vintage shop.
or a Comic-Con. And, I'll ask you the same question in a second, but, you go to some comic book conventions and vintage toy conventions, and you are seeing these classic 80s and 70s toys that are finding new feet and new life. I mean, hell, how many times have we gone to a Comic-Con, stopped at a booth and went, that's the toy of my childhood.
Rainbow Bright, I'm feeling attacked.
Oh, God.
Did we not bring it home for you, though?
Yes, we did. Yes.
Gomez, if someone says tomorrow that there's going to be a Garbage Pail Kids movie in the works, is there space for it?
I think there is for the humor side of it. Because A, it's daring. B, there really hasn't been a really good, dirty, disgusting slapstick movie in a long time. Everything is more like it's action driven, it's comedy driven, but I don't think we haven't seen like a really good slapstick comedy in a long time. You know what I mean? And something like this would be actually really good because A, they still make those damn Garbage Pail Kid cards to this day. Not just in Comic-Con, you can find them almost anywhere. They're still making them in 2024, which is kind of funny.
Okay, so I'm going to argue this one. I think there actually is space for it. I agree. But yeah, I think you have to take a look at some of the animated series that are out there that kind of go beyond, like, you couldn't do these cartoons in like the 80s. Like a show like Has Been Hotel and Solar Opposites and, animated series that are so over the top wrong. If you're going to bring the Garbage Pail Kids back to 2024 or 25 media, I think you need to kind of go down maybe the animated route, because then you can have a lot more fun with it.
Yeah.
I agree. You can lead into, without having it feel like really cheesy, some of the grotesqueness that comes with the comedy, and you can do a lot more. And then you can focus on the Garbage Pail Kids as the main characters.
See, I'm gonna argue. I love the interaction with the human versus like the character of the Garbage Pail Kids. I think there's a lot of opportunity again for, some slapstick physical humor, and I would rather see it, real life, and I'd rather see. I think there's a lot more they could do with the animatronics and the facial expressions and everything.
Animatronics have come a long way, and they would probably go full CGI or whatever, or they'd go motion capture and do it that way. But I think, based on the property and the nature of the property, I maybe it's just me, I think it would work better in an animation platform rather than a live action platform. But I mean, I could be wrong, but I think that if they try to do it live action, they would probably go mocap, in this day and age. All right. So we have come to the end. of a film considered to be the worst, but in grand scheme of things, maybe not the worst. But Gomez, you know what time it is. Who is your MVP of the Garbage Pail Kids movie?
Ooh. I'm in between two of them. I gotta go with Windy Winston, man. I gotta give. You blow a fart off a guy's mustache off. You got talent right there. That's my MVP.
All right, Carrie, your MVP.
Can I pick one of the Garbage Pail Kids and a human?
I'll allow it.
Okay, all right. So I really liked Mr. Manzini. I thought he was fun. He was lyrical and magical with his delivery of his lines. He was just so out there. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he was from outer space, wherever the Garbage Pail Kids originated from. I want to see the backstory. Thank you very much. Let's make it happen. And as far as the Garbage Pail Kids, I really, really love the greaser. Like the little Travolta Garbage Pail Kid.
What's going on there, guys?
Right? The scene, oh my God, the scene where they alluded to him playing doctor.
Oh my God.
I was just like, did they just seriously? Oh, they did. It was too funny.
1987 PG went way different than what you're expecting for PG.
Oh God, I forgot about that scene.
As much as I want to say that my MVP is the ending credits, because that meant the movie was over, I'm actually going to give my MVP to Katie Barbary. And I say that because here's a character that made you question if they were going to have a redemption arc. But it also provided Mackenzie Astin's character with the necessary turnaround for his character. And sometimes you need a character to justify the character development of a main character. And that, I think, she did a really good job of allowing Mackenzie Astin to give Dodger that moment.
I am going to say, Jay, I'm really disappointed in you.
Oh?
Yes.
Oh.
I thought for sure you would have chosen the music.
No.
It was quintessential 80s,
it was
the perfect soundtrack.
I was humming "You Can Be a Garbage Pail Kid" for about 5 hours after the movie was done. And after the end, I needed to flush my ears out with something heavy because that earworm doesn't go away fast.
It's catchy.
Yeah, like syphilis.
I don't think I'm ever being invited back to the show again now.
Oh, Gomez.
No, thank you so much. I didn't even know this movie existed. It's been fun.
Don't you worry. The next grading on a curve is coming, sir, and you're lined up for it. So.
Oh God. I don't know. Nothing beats the musical one, guys.
Oh, just you wait, because there have been some fantastically bad films in 2024. So. Don't worry.
I can't. Ending your review.
All right, Gomez, before we go, please let our listeners know a little bit about the Sleevy G Show and where they can find you out there on the interwebs.
So Sleevy G Show is a little bit of a concept I made up a year and a half ago now. It's taken off, surprisingly. Going to be close to 100 episodes coming up soon, which is huge for a guy like me. A little over 1,200 downloads right now for a small little podcaster out of New Jersey. I'm just a fun-loving show, man. I've got to talk to a lot of sports celebrities, local New Jersey celebrities. Matter of fact, the 100th episode, we were going to feature Drowning Pool, CJ Pierce from Drowning Pool. That's my big one right there. I'm proud of it. Actually talked to Andre Como, who used to be on The Real World New York season 1 with the castmates from there. And, it's just a good conversational show that questions some things, but, it's fun. It's a little bit about everything, not just music, movies, sports. Matter of fact, we're gearing up for end of the year this year too. With the Nostalgic Podcast, gotta give those guys some credit because I was just on their show for Con Air, and we're gonna do the top 10 Christmas movies of all time. So that should be a good one for us, for me at least.
All right, so just make sure that Santa Claus versus the Martians is definitely in that list.
Well, let's just say someone's going to be thrown off the Nakatomi building.
It's not Christmas until Hans Gruber falls all the way down the Nakatomi Plaza. Gomez, thank you so much. And yes, you are always welcome on this show. No matter how bad your movie tastes are, you are always welcome on this show. And my lovely wife, Carrie, for sitting down and tormenting our 12-year-old with this film as well. Thank you so much. Now, dear listeners, you guys know the drill. If you think there's a film out there that is unfairly maligned, or there is no way in a garbage pail that we can find anything good to say about it, hit us up on social media at NotThatBadCast, or go to our website at NotThatBadCast.com. And while you are there, make sure you check out our Coming Soon page, because we have a bunch of episodes that are listed there that we are currently in the process of prepping and eventually doing. Until next time, he's Gomez, she's Carrie, I'm Jay. You guys are awesome because you survived this episode. This is It's Not That Bad, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Take care.